Good morning, Belton High School. I'm Brooke Truman, and you're watching Cutlass TV News. The winter play, She Kills Monsters, is premiering this weekend. For a behind-the-scenes look, here's Tyler Fulton, Mason Fulton, and Aubrey Fricke.
Sophomore Caitlin Wagner talks about her job as the assistant director.
When we have breaks, I give them notes of how they can improve and corrections of what to fix. And then I also just run errands for whatever Miss Babcock needs me to do. I think probably giving a second opinion on things and with blocking, with how to say lines and stuff.
Sophomore Caitlin Morrison describes her work as an actor.
Same thing you do for any show. You run lines, make sure you rehearse, you come to rehearsal. With this show specifically, because there's so many fight scenes, we have fight choreography, you have to make sure that you run through those at home by yourself and meet up with people after rehearsal to do them because there's just so much involved. So, it's a really complex show, but you do what you can do to prepare. It's amazing. It's really funny, but it's serious too, and it has just such good themes, and I feel like it's really good for any age because there's so much just good comedy and deep, genuinely well written, and it's just really good, and I think that it's a show that anyone should and can see.
Senior Rihanna Cotton tells us about her role as sound designer and what that job is.
The most challenging part of sound designing is trying to figure out which sounds will work best with which scenes. So you can only, with fight scenes, you have to have a sound that will match the fight because you don't want a slower song for a fast fight. Sound designer, I pick out all of the background music that goes on every fight scene. We have a song that plays. I turn on and off mics so the audience can hear them better, and just overall make sure that everything is able to be heard.
With Mason Fulton and Aubrey Fricke, I'm Tyler Fulton with Cutlass TV News.
The Chiefs are headed back to the Super Bowl this Sunday. Both teachers and students are excited to cheer on the team. Here's a look at this week's Spirit Days and the fans' reactions by Mason Fulton and myself.
I enjoy watching Patrick Mahomes. He's probably one of the greatest players. I would really like him to be officially known as the GOAT.
I especially like the team right now. They've got a great camaraderie, a lot of spirit.
My favorite player is Patrick Mahomes, and actually when I was in college I worked at Chipotle, and Patrick Mahomes came into the Chipotle I worked at all the time, so he was a really nice guy. So that's why he's my favorite player, but today I'm dressed as Tyreek Hill. You can see I got my cheetah on for his number because he's the cheetah. I celebrate the games by watching with my family and eating a lot of food and just having a lot of fun together. I've lived in Kansas City my whole life, so it's just a fun thing to do. They're a great team to watch, and it's amazing to see their progress over the past couple years.
What I enjoy about watching them is they seem to make a lot of plays that no other offenses really can or just consistently make, and it's just really fun to watch their highlight reels. Most of the time we celebrate just by, we'll get as a family or I'll get my friends together. We'll either go to Buffalo Wild Wings or we'll go someplace and just eat food and watch the game. I've never been a real big football guy until recently, but the Chiefs have always been my favorite just because it's the hometown team.
Oh man, what's not to enjoy about watching the Chiefs? This year especially, the offense is fun, without a doubt. We all know that. But their defense has gotten better and better, and getting to see some of the big hits, that's fun. That's fun. For me, knowing who I'm married to, I'm partial to linemen. So I was a big Fisher fan. Unfortunately, he got hurt. But if you want to wow it, then it's got to be, I'd say Travis Kelce. He's a stud. He's a big man, he can get in there, he can catch, he can run, he can knock your socks off and still play ball. That's fun to watch. Well, last year for us it was way more fun because we had season tickets. So we were there celebrating with the crowd, hooting and hollering, and anyone who's been on the sideline knows I can yell with the best of them. And then, so this year it's been Coach and I hanging out, and some of that stuff, the paraphernalia, the flags and all that he won from the Chiefs earlier this school year. We've got some of that on our mantle, hanging from the walls, and just go Chiefs, yeah.
Travis Kelsey, because I remember when he first came up and my dad always said, watch this kid, he's really going to be something special, and he's actually turned out to be very special. I think it's because we've always backed them up for so long and had a little bit of disappointment every year, and then last year it just seems like it brought everybody together in a sense of community, and not only just our city but schools and country.
Well, it's a tie between Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes. Love watching, with Patrick Mahomes, I love watching his leadership, and he is such an avid support of all of his team players. He never takes the credit for himself. He always shares the spirit and the wealth, and watching him just turn into this extremely mature player has been such a joy. Well, my husband's family has had season tickets with the Chiefs for almost 50 years. I think it's at 48 right now. His folks, when they moved to Kansas City, that was something that they bought, and they had 6 seats. And they have kept those exact same 6 seats for the past 48 years. So I started going to games when his siblings quit going to games, and now it's my husband has 4 of them, and his brother has 2 of them. And we actually even got to go to the Super Bowl last year, which was fabulous. When the championship game, when Nicole Hardman made that mistake at the beginning, watching Patrick Mahomes cheer him up, watching him get put right back in again to make the next play, and then he ends up making a touchdown. I mean, there's such a great team supporting one another. And if one has a problem, the rest of them center around it and make it work.
I enjoyed it. I like watching the offense because they're really fun. You never know what you're going to see. Patrick Mahomes, because for the same reason, you never know what you're going to see when he's got the ball in his hand.
The wrestling team is ready to compete at the state level again and is preparing for the postseason. Here's a look at their season by Gio Mack, Dante Miller, Josh Middlestat, and Austin Farrow.
The wrestling team has had a strong season. They're looking forward for ways to improve even more as they enter into the postseason. Coach Jeremy Baker discusses the challenges of coaching with COVID-19.
It's had a big impact. We've had one point in time where we were all quarantined, and just about everyone else, everyone's been in separate groups of quarantine, 3, 4, 5 athletes. So hopefully we get everybody back here with the postseason coming up. But had a lot of guys and girls had to set out for a couple weeks. It's had a big impact. Normally I'm on the mats every day, hands-on with different groups of kids. This year I've had to stay back a little bit to lessen the risk from contact tracing and not have my hands on the kids quite as much. And with that, we do a lot less whole group activities. It's all kind of one-on-one, just one kid with one partner versus changing partners and mixing things up. So it's definitely had an impact. The expectations and the goals don't change. So our goal coming into this year was top 4 at state, and that is the expectation for my guys team. The expectation and goals for our girls team is to get our first girls to the state tournament, and once we get there to win some matches, score some points and see where we shake out team-wise. But we've yet to have a girls state qualifier, so it's kind of separate goals for the guys and girls based on where they're at in their progression.
Raina Moore speaks about what she's working on to improve at the close of her season.
I chose stress of the season because I find it a lot more fun than swim. And it keeps me active, and mentally it's just a lot of fun. My goals for myself this year is to get past districts, because last year I didn't do so good. And then probably our team goal is to get at least a few girls to state this year, and a few of the boys too. I could probably be a little bit more serious during practice, and not mess around as much with the team during practice.
As a sophomore on the team, Ethan Eager speaks about how he pushed himself on the mat.
I chose to wrestle this season because in youth I used to wrestle. I was just busy and I had to pick one, but now it's an option. I don't have to go full time. I've always loved wrestling and it's great for my body. My goal for myself is to place in the districts tournament and qualify for state, and for my team. I think we have a good chance with enough people to maybe win districts and have a chance to place at state. I really trying to push myself. It's all in your head. It's how bad you want to get better, and it's how bad you want to work. It's up to you.
With Josh Middlestat, Giovanni Mack, and Austin Farrell, I'm Dr. Miller with Cutlass TV News.
Although courtwarming looks different this year, students are still able to celebrate with a Spirit Week and a court. With more on the event, here's America's Count, Caleb Courtwarming and Brittany Jackson.
Courtwarming festivities begun on Monday, along with Spirit Week. A recognition of the courtwarming court will also take place.
Exciting and also nice to be seen and voted by peers.
Senior Jessica Frank tells us more about how she's honored to be nominated by her peers.
I feel like it's different than being nominated for an actual dance or something like that. And what I think is different about it is that this nomination, rather than focusing on the actual courtwarming game, is more focused on the way they've explained it to me anyway. So it's more focused on leadership and kindness. And so I it in a normal setting where it would be more about basketball and stuff. I feel like this is an approach that's more specific to me, and so it's cool to me to think that they chose me based on leadership and kindness.
With Brittany Jackson and Caleb Courtwarming, I'm America's Counts with Cutlass TV News.
Thanks for watching. Tune in next time, and as always, Carpe Diem.